The Story of a Cloud by Pablo Tinoco. There was a city with no name, filled with wealthy people. This city was plagued with skyscrapers, full of lights and announcements of giant corporations. The streets were filled with mechanical beasts that ran through the streets, beasts that only the rich could afford, while the sidewalks were almost empty. Unfortunately, few people used the bus, the community bikes, or even their own feet to move. Instead, a black smoke impregnated the air, a sign of pollution produced by the breath of the beasts in the highways. The geographical position and the lack of trees caused a phenomenon where the polluted breeze flowed through the buildings as water in the sewers with cold smoke. While all the buildings surrounded the only green area in miles, a park with three trees and with a statue in the middle that displayed a man that anybody knew his name, but he was called for the foreign as the tinsel heart. In that city, there was a kid who never had a name, an origin, or a family. He was covered in dirty gray rags to keep him warm in the middle of that cold pollution. He didn't have a place to stay or a person to go to. He didn't have any belongings except for a rags and a pair of shoes that he found in the garbage. But the child was neither sad nor angry about his misfortune. Nobody noticed him. Nobody knew the reasons behind his existence in this place of the rich. But he was still there in the desert streets, waiting for something unclear and watching the sky. One afternoon, under the gray sky in the park, a person noticed the presence of the kid, one of the few humble men who lived in the city. The man, in his 60s, wore a brown coat and long pants. After looking around, not seeing any adult nearby, he approaches to the kid, who observed the dark clouds moving with the polluted breeze. "Hey, what are you doing around here?" asked the man. "Watching the clouds," said the boy calmly, and still watching the sky. "Your parents are worried about you sitting around in the park alone?" The kid didn't speak. "What if somebody does something to you? Who will even care?" the kid says, while turning to look at the man. "Who else sees me?" A deep silence, filled with only the sounds of the beasts, surrounded the two individuals in the heart of the city. "You do not need to worry about me, sir. I know where to go," lied the kid with a smile. "Just be careful, and if you need anything, I'll be available," said the man while walking to another direction. Hours passed since the encounter, but the kid lingered, watching the clouds until the skyscrapers became the light in the sky, concluding that he could no longer watch the clouds due to the lack of light. He started walking through the desert streets while the breeze passed with the beasts in the same direction. It was freezing, but despite the lack of clothes, he didn't feel cold that night. The night passed by as fast as the wind. The city was overwhelmed by the beast sounds that could circulate through the veins of the blocks, and the kid stoically walked through the avenue. Throughout the night, the kid walked and continued until the sun lit the clouds again. Under the sun, the kid walked with his bare feet. The child continued until he reached the library and stared into it from outside, observing the pictures and the words in different colors. But he didn't see words, just hieroglyphics that made no sense. The same old man from the other day saw the kid and quickly went outside. "Look who it is," said the man, surprised. "What are you interested in? Do you want to come in?" But the kid continued to observe the books and then leaves, making the man more preoccupied with the state of the kid. He turned back and started walking back to the park. The routine of the kid, visiting the library and marching back to the park to see the clouds, continued for weeks. Every time he stared in the window, the man received the kid out again and again, but the kid ignored him. The man never saw the kid eating or drinking. The boy simply saw the books and then turned back to the park to watch the clouds again. That kid came on sunny days and on the cold nights went back to the park. He did these trips for months and nobody paid attention to him. Everybody was so occupied thinking about their own lives that not even the police asked anything about the child. Nobody noticed the kid except for the old man, who waited for the kid every 2 days and always invited him into the store, not to sell him books, but because he cared about this child. He saw the eyes of the kid filled with curiosity every time he saw those books, but the expression did not go beyond his eyes. His face and his body were similar to an automaton. He didn't care about his surroundings, and anything perturbed his walking. In one of the days in which he made the trip to the store, something caught his attention. Something stopped and perturbed his pace. A rough and squeaky voice called him from the side. "I know, wait for you to gain all that you desire," said the voice. "Really?" said the kid, looking for the place the voice come out. "What do I want?" "Go back to the shop, and there we will continue with our conversation." After the talk, the voice stopped, but no one knew where the voice came from. The kid meditated for some time and then started to walk back to the store. Between the park and the store, there were more than just a few kilometers, but he was never intimidated by the distance. While marching through the streets, the sound of the beast echoed in his head, combining with the thoughts of the kid. Why does the man of the bookstore be in the park? There is such a long distance from the park to the store. Why was he there? But the only reason he questioned these unimportant details was that he was afraid that somebody cared about him. Despite talking out loud, nobody answered his questions. The only sounds was that of the wind and the whistle through the skyscrapers. The kid walked up to the store in the morning of the next day, but instead of looking directly from the crystal as usual, he retreated to the front street, where he sat waiting for something to happen. After a few hours, the man finally appeared, just to find the kid in the front square. "What are you doing here this early?" asked the old man with a tone of surprise. "If you want to, you can enter the store. I know of something that you will like." The kid kept in silence while observing the old man entering the store. "I'm here as you want now. Show yourself, boys," called while searching anything abnormal in the surroundings. "I saw you didn't hesitate to walk that immense distance, and I'm sure you were thinking in our short dialogue, added again the mysterious voice. In response, the kid stopped looking everywhere and decided to close his eyes and sit again. But now that you are really near to the finish line, you will decide to retreat, argued the voice. And still, the kid gave no justification to the voice. Meanwhile, the old man started to clean the crystals of the store that shine under the sun. I'm going to enter, not because of your words, but because I have a feeling, responded the kid, certainly looking for the origins of the voice again. Feeling or not, you're entering, said the voice, cleverly. The kid opened the door of the store and silently approached to the counter. Look who finally came in, the old man pronounced, rejoicing. I'm just looking for something inside the store, but I have an interest in your appearance in the park, stated the kid with seriousness. But if you allow me to do so, I would like to ask you one question, and then I'll leave. If that is the only reason you walked such a long distance from the park to here, it should be something of extreme importance, the old man replied with an air of concern. But let me make a deal. I would like to show you some things and then help you with some tasks before you ask that big question of yours. The kid tried to protest against the idea, but he had no other choice other than to accept the conditions of the old man if he really wanted to make that question. So he silently agreed to the deal and opened the door of the store back to the outside. You found what you searched for so long, jungling, and thanks to me. But don't forget to ask. But the kid didn't pay attention to the boys and started to walk back to the park. Are you fleeing? Asked the boys. From what? Argued the kid, who had finally lost his patience. But the boys did not respond anymore. The kid continued the march toward the park to make again the same routine for another day. The next night, he came back to the store and sat again in front of the store for the entire night, watching the shadow of the dark clouds in the night sky. The face of the kid didn't show any tiredness for the rest of the night until the light of the sun illuminated the same clouds the kid was observing. The old man came early in the morning to open the store, and his eyes shines after bumping his visual line with the kid. Well, I see you came back with interest for the proposal, so let's begin right now, declared the man with a joyful tone. While the old man vocalized his intervention, the kid sat in a nearby chair and looked straight at the old man, waiting for an order or command inside the store. I was afraid that you wouldn't come back from the last night. Yet the kid didn't pay too much attention to the old man until he approached him with calm